Last night, Kaizena updated their product, including an add-on for Google Docs. And so I'm going to go over just how to use that right now. And it starts with where you start normally. You're providing feedback to a student. So let's say this is a paper a student's going to share with me. So I'm on one of my other Google accounts. Imagine this is a student account. They're going to share the document with me. So they share the document with me, just like they would in class. So now it's shared with me. I can go back to my drive, go into my incoming, and there we go. There's my assignment that they shared with me. Now, I'm going to provide feedback in this. So the old way of using Kaizena is I could go to Kaizena's site to do this, but I also, now it's an add-on. So you see Kaizena for Google Docs. To get the add-on, you go down to Get Add-ons, you search for it, you install it, kind of just like, you just click the button here once you find Kaizena. Then, on the teacher side, you're going to run it and open it. Now, the first time you open it, it's going to be a different screen than what you're going to see right now, because you're going to have to install an extension. That extension is right here for me, and that extension allows me to record. I'm already logged into my Kaizena account. If you're setting this up for the first time, you just have to kind of put your name, where you're a teacher at, what subjects you teach, that's it. So for this one, I'm a teacher. I type at Ames High School, Ames, Iowa. Teach these grades, so let's just say grade 12. And I'm going to use tech integration. Oh. I'll just put that. So I hit continue. So now I should be set up, ready to go. Now, as a teacher, I'm giving feedback, but I can also receive feedback from students. Students can respond back to your feedback with more feedback. You can actually have a conversation inside the document. But for this case, I'm going to give them feedback, so I click I'm giving feedback. Now, who's receiving feedback? You have to enter the email of the student. So hopefully you just start typing it out. It should show up. You can add more people to this if you want. If they weren't added before, they're going to be added now as editors on the document. Hit continue. And now I just have to click add feedback. So I'm going to highlight part of this. So let's say this first sentence contained an issue or something where they require some feedback. So I'm going to click add feedback. I can add skills here. Now this is something where you could be tying back to either a standard or some sort of essential learning in the classroom. So like let's say this something had to do with sentence structure. If that was something I was getting feedback about, maybe that's it. Or maybe if you're thinking about, let's say, a science class, I'm talking about the nature of science, something along those lines. And so I can attach skills to this, and I can always add those skills by clicking up here and managing the tags. And so that means that those are pretty much those skills I'll see down here. To add feedback, I have three options. I can add voice feedback, I can add some text feedback, or I can just add some resources to this. So I'm going to click the microphone. Now this is why you need the extension, so you can get and receive the recordings. So I'm going to click start recording, and it'll tell you recording on the air. It'll say for how long you're going, and then once you're done giving that feedback, you click stop. It's going to process it, and then you can listen to it. So I'm going to click start recording to make sure that it's what you want. I can add a resource to this. So if I had a resource, I could say if there's a certain video on YouTube, I could type that up here and we'll see if it shows up. But you have to add those resources first in the Manage Resources area. I can also, let's delete that. I can also add text feedback if I want. And so I'm able to do that. Now, as soon as I created this feedback, an email was sent to the person with the document, and you can see that this tells them how they can install it. So if you're doing this for your students first time, there's actually steps here for how they can install this. And they can open up the blog post, which I already have opened up here. I'm going to refresh it. Now you can see right now I see a highlight, but I don't really have a way to do anything with that. Okay, there's the if I go to the comments here, this is from previously. I've used this document in the past to practice with Kaizena. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to go to the add-ons. They're going to have to install Kaizena for Google Docs. This is an update, so I have to click free. And then I click accept. So it's going to have access to my email into my drive. Now the student will go to Kaizena for Google Docs. They'll open it. And they'll get told right here that they need the extension. So that's going to pop up. So they click on that. It says next, install the Kaizena recorder. It's an extension. If you are at a district with Chromebooks or you have some restrictions on student devices where they can't install extensions, this would be an extension that you could possibly talk to your tech director to have pushed out. But it is one that is needed for this to work. So, the last thing I gotta do is I have to allow it inside Chrome. So I'm in Chrome, so I'm gonna click allow. And then I'm done. I can go back to the document, close this, and reopen it, because now I have the extension open. So now I have the extension, I have the add-on, and I only have to really do that the first time. So if this is something you're using often with your students, yes, it'll take a little extra work that first time, but after that, all they're going to have to do is go to the add-ons, down to Kaizena. They'll have to just click on the feedback. And now they can listen to it. If they go back, they can add feedback of their own. And so they can add a recording, say, what exactly did you mean by that? I'm a little confused still. Or they could have done it in text. And that feedback will go back to the teacher so that they know that the feedback has been received, the same kind of way we did before. So, I'm going to close out of this just for a second. Let's go back to the add-ons. I go down to Kaizena. I open it up. Or Kaizena, sorry. And then I'm just going to look real quick. Once it loads, I can see these are all the feedbacks in there. So this is the one that they left. Say, what exactly did you mean by that? So I can see that feedback. Now, it'll make a little more sense, when you're not the same name giving feedback back and forth as I am with myself. So that's Kaizena, voice feedback, where you can add resources easily. You can tag to keep track of certain essential learning skills, but it's a great tool to be able to get feedback back and forth with students.